What is up, dudes and lady dudes? Welcome back to Just Nuts, guys. Today, we've got more Selection 10 news. I'm actually extremely hyped about this. I've just seen a couple of the artworks, but I have read none of the cards, so I'm really excited to see what we got here. This has been probably the news since, like, Blazing Vortex is now fully revealed for, like, the OCG's cards. This is, like, the set I've been the most hyped to see what else comes out of it, so we're really hyped to get into this. I think we have 5 new cards, whatever, but just from the artwork, I already know some of the archetypes that are getting supported here. So cool. Okay, so let's jump in. I don't want to waste too much more time. We're going to start off with a Hieratic Exceed Monsters. This is Hieratic Heavenly Dragon Overlord of Heliopolis. That name hopefully will get condensed because that is a mouthful. It's a rank 8 light dragon XYZ effect monster with 3,000 attack and 2,400 defense. Its materials are completely generic in any 2 level 8 monsters. It's pretty nice. Okay, it's nice. 2 level 8s. It's actually pretty easy to do. Its effect reads, once per turn, when your opponent activates a card or effect that it targets a card or cards you control in your graveyard and or your banished cards, quick effect, you can attach 1 material from this card, negate the activation, and if you do, destroy that card. Okay, I think it's fine. I mean, if it was just a straight up negate, obviously we'd prefer that. But at least they went a little bit over just, if they target a card you control. At least it went to the fact of they can't target a card you control, anything in your graveyard, or anything that's banished. So at least they go a little bit further. But still, I think it's an underwhelming, effect overall. So I'm going to say this one is not so good. Out of 10, I'm giving this one like a 4. I think it's below average, actually. At best, a 5 out of 10, something like that. Alright, which takes us to our Hieratic Seal of Creation. This is actually a normal spell for the Hieratic archetype. You can only use either this card's first or second effects once per turn and only once that turn. So that means if you use the first effect, you cannot use the second effect that turn, or vice versa. First effect reads, target 1 Dragon Exceed you control. Special summon from your extra deck a Hieratic Exceed monster with a different original name than that monster by using that one as material. This is treated as an Exceed summon, and you transfer the materials, of course. Okay, so it's kind of like a rank up spell for the Hieratic archetype. Not too shabby. And the second effect... different original name, okay. And the second reads, you can banish this card from your grave, then target a Hieratic monster in your graveyard to special summon it in defense mode. Okay, wow, that's actually a pretty nice extension effect later on in the duel. I think this card's pretty good. Because even just discarding it just to get its extension effect without even using the first effect that turn might actually be the way to go in some instances. So I really like this. As much as I don't love this Exceed monster, I know the Hieratics have other Exceed monsters that are, like, interesting. I don't know off the top of my head exactly what they do, but I know there are some decent ones. So that's definitely interesting to keep in mind, is that going to any. It's just a different name, and it's nothing like, 1 rank higher, 2 ranks higher. It's just anything with a different name than the one you already have. So that's actually pretty cool. As well as it also, you can target any Dragon Exceed monster whatsoever. Doesn't have to already be a Hieratic. So it gets a little more generic there. I think it's a pretty good card, honestly. The deck already has some tools. They have their Rhoda. They have some extendability plays. The Dragon pool already is pretty decent. I'm going to give this one above average, probably like a 6 or a 7 out of 10, but not overblown, crazy, banana, bonkers, insane, right? So we'll just keep it there. Moving on here, we have a new Nekroz card. This is Nekroz of Arid Bear. It's a level 10 water warrior ritual effect monster with 3,300 attack, 3,200 defense. You can ritual summon this card with any Nekroz ritual spell, of course. Must be ritual summoned without using any level 10 monsters. So you're going to be forced to at least use 2 different materials for its ritual summon, and both of its effects are hard once per turns each. The first effect reads, you can discard this card, then tribute up to 2 Nekroz monsters from your hand or field, and if you do, send the same number of Nekroz cards from your deck to the graveyard. Okay. Wow. That's a lot. Huh. Okay. I don't hate that. I don't think it's, like, interesting. I mean, I don't know Nekroz to a T yet. I've never really delved too far into them. But, I know they have some graveyard synergy. You're just going to get to foolish any 2 Nekroz cards. Oh, actually, you actually only have to tribute up to 2. So you don't have to tribute 2. You could tribute 1 just to send 1. Huh. Very interesting. But the problem here is, like, you're going to send a card and probably tribute at least 1. So that's 2 cards just to send another card. You're literally losing 2 cards of advantage just to send another one. So you really have to be getting a lot of advantage back based off of what you're sending. So I'm curious how good this effect is. The second effect reads, when a monster effect is activated, quick effect, you can tribute 1 monster from your hand or field. That includes itself if you want. Negate that activation, and if you do, banish that card. Now that also is very, very nice. So this card kind of gives you dual utility. It can be somewhat of a turbo card to just kind of help dump stuff from your deck, or it could be used as a boss monster. Summon it out, and it's just a monster negate. Not just a negate, but a negate and banish, which is about the best kind of negate you can be for monsters. Could have been a little more versatile, negating any effect, not just monsters, but still, monster is the best one. I think it's a pretty good card. The only thing that I'm curious about is how much utility it has, considering it's level 10. Is that too much of a level barrier for you to be able to summon some of the other ones? Maybe this has synergy with the new, what are they called? What are the Drytron, the new ritual archetype, because they have the card that says you just need to sacrifice a monster with the same attack stat or higher, or the same amount of total attack or higher. So the 4,000 guy from Drytron could be 1 tribute just to get this guy out. Just interesting things to know. I don't know. But it's definitely cool. You'll see some other reprints here. These are OCG reprints, so I'm not too worried about them. Which takes us to a new Fairy Tale card. That's not half bad. Okay. Fairy Tale Rashka? Okay. She's a cute little kitty, as per usual with this archetype. Level 4 light spellcaster effect monster. Very nice. 1850 attack, 1000 defense. Also very nice. It's a beater. And its first effect is a hard once per turn. First effect, when this card is normal summoned, you can make your opponent gain 500 life points. Then they look at the top 3 cards of your deck and pick one of them for you to add to your hand. Also shuffle the rest back into the deck. And the second effect, if this card battles before damage calculation, you can send this card to the graveyard. What the hell is this? This is such a weird effect. See, like, if this let you pick, I'm all for it. The problem is, one, you're giving your opponent 500 life points, so in time is bad, but that's not really the worst thing in the world if the effect was good. They get to look at the top 3 cards of your deck and they pick. So it is technically a +1 no matter what. Your opponent has to give you something. It is a +1 at the end of the day. But if they already know, like, the contents that you're playing with somewhat, or they know what they have and they know what they lose to harder, they just give you the one that seems the least good for you at that moment in time, and that's what this card loses value. I'd rather just draw a card. If this was just when it's normal summon, give your opponent 500 and draw a card, it's probably better than letting your opponent look at your 3 cards and pick one. So it's interesting. I don't love it. If you had to pick and this was just literally normal summon Pot of Duality, I actually think this card could see potential play in certain decks for sure. But decks that don't have their normal summon, really. But I don't know. And then the second effect is just like, what is going on here? If this card battles before damage calculation, you can send this card to the graveyard. Why would you do that? I don't know. This card just confuses me. We also got another spell for the Fairy Tale archetype. This is just called Fairy Tale. It's a continuous spell. You can only use this card's first effect once per turn. The first effect reads, you can reveal 1 spellcaster monster with 1850 in your hand with a different name from the face-up monsters you control, and immediately after this effect resolves, normal summon that monster. Okay, so it kind of gives you an additional normal summon of any 1850 monster. So that's actually interesting. So that could technically count as like Charmer support, or at least like the familiar possessed monsters. Okay, that's interesting. And then each turn, the first time you would take battle or effect damage while you control a spellcaster with 1850 original attack, you do not. Again, not the craziest thing in the world, but okay. I wish these were better. I've always liked the Fairy Tale archetype. I think Luna's decent. Obviously, Snow's insane. The other ones are kind of meh. So I kind of wish this would be a little better, but it's kind of lacking for me, I think, overall. Definitely not the biggest fan of those. Which takes us to a new Time Thief rank 4. Ooh-wee. I'm so pumped for this. Okay, rank 4 Dark Psychic Exceed Effect Monster. 2200, 2200. So pretty beefy for a rank 4. He's completely generic with any 2 level 4s, like that. You can only use this card's name. This name's effect once per turn. Oh, it's one effect and does weird things. Okay. When your opponent activates a card or effect, quick effect, you could attach up to 3 different types of materials from this card, then apply the following effect based on what was detached. Okay. When your opponent activates any card or effect. So it's any card or effect, not just monster or anything. It's any effect or card, you can respond with this. Okay. If you detach a monster, this card gains 400 attack. Whatever. Like, obviously that's a lame one because that's the easiest one to set up. If you detach a spell, you can take control of one face-up monster your opponent controls until the end phase, but it cannot attack or activates effects. Wow. So just quick effect mind control your opponent, steal a monster to the end phase, and it can't attack or activate effect. Yeah, literally just like quick effect mind control your opponent. That's pretty good. And the trap says negate the effects of one effect monster on the field until the end of this turn. Wow. Okay. This monster is not bad. I mean, listen, here's the problem with this card. The problem with this card is just to make this card, you're probably going to be making him with monster materials only. But obviously the only 2 effects that actually do something worth a damn are the spell and the trap effects. So it does take a little setup. You do have to be in a situation where you can pretty consistently equip or attach a trap or a spell to him, which is not the hardest thing. You do have support cards in the archetype that do give you the ability to attach other things to him. Interesting. I'm curious because I think like if you could somehow put like a redoer next to this guy, you're going to be in a pretty good position because you're going to be able to just like, if you can get a trap on both of them, you've got a non-targeting like spin essentially, and then you've got the ability to either negate a monster or steal a monster to the end of the turn. Both pretty strong disruptions there. So I like this card. I wish he had some kind of effect kind of similar to Redoer's first effect where he gives a chance to like potentially by himself attach a spell or a trap, but I still think he's pretty good. And if you set him up next to Redoer and Perpetua, like it's just over, man. Like how do you deal with that? It's so sticky, so annoying to deal with. And now they've got like extra disruption. So I think it's pretty cool. I like this card a lot. I think this card actually has some pretty good potential for Time Thieves. Definitely will be considered when he comes out. Keep in mind he isn't out just yet, but still really cool to see here. And I think we only had, I want to say 12, I want to say we had like 18 cards revealed for this set so far, and this is only what? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 more. So I think there were 35 cards for the set, so hopefully this is kind of just right here at puts us at about 25. Hopefully we'll get still 10 more new cards. I love this. Like, listen, I think the Fairy Soul stuff is a little bit of a letdown. I think the Nekroz card could be good. I think the Hieratic stuff, I think the Exceed's kind of lacking, but I think the spell's actually pretty good. I honestly think there's a decent support here all the way around. I thought the Shadal stuff was pretty good. Obviously, Sanavalon's just kind of a letdown archetype, but that's what they were in the anime too. They didn't seem like they had a ton of promise. But overall, I'm liking what I'm seeing. They're not going overboard and breaking any archetypes, but they are giving cards that you're like, yeah, I'd play that. I'd play it. So I like it. So let me know your thoughts down below on these new cards, all 6 of them. Obviously, you know I'm the biggest like Time Thief fan out of any of these archetypes, but you know, I'm not the biggest fan of the other one. So throw down in the comment section down below if there's any interactions that make these cards better than I think, or if you think I was off base with where I thought they landed. But yeah, leave those down below. Thank you so much for watching as always. I will see you guys in the next video, and I'll see you. Peace.